Welcome to the interface of TEXBIZ 18. Today we are here to conduct the presentation round of the interface of Dysin TEXBIZ 18.
As we can see, our honorable judges have arrived among us. So at this moment, I would like to introduce our judges. So first we have MD Rafid Urro, Strategic Assistant, Bangalink Digital Communications Limited. Then we have Mahmoud Rahman Nafi, Cost Analyst, ACI Limited. Again, we have Afnan bin Ashraf, Management Trainee, Unilever Bangladesh Limited. We have with us Tashfiya Mehrin Jalil, Assistant Relationship, Standard Chartered Bank.
Convenience of the presentation, the teams except D jokers are requested to stay outside the auditorium. They are requested to stay at the left side of the auditorium near the second door. Please help us by leaving the auditorium room and staying at the left side of the auditorium.
Okay, now we will start our formal session. We will start the presentation round. So the first team who will present, this is the jokers. So except the jokers, all other participants are requested to stay outside. Thank you.
And your presentation, give them a big hand.
Jokers. So at first, happy Easter to you all. I am Christian. Leaving the Easter, I have come here just because of the love of this business case competition. Now moving on to our case, if we suggest. But after that, I am a fat guy and I love eating. Last week, me and my friend Imon, we after our class went to Dhanmondi for having burgers. So we of course prepared the chilogs. Then when we went there, we saw that there were a lot of people there. So when we were about to order, we thought that if we order here, we were very much hungry. But then if we ordered, the food would come very late. So we just went out of there and went to take out. So the thing is that we were hungry, and at that moment we want the quality food. And due to this, both the chilogs and the takeout both had the quality burgers. But the thing is that time consuming, as time is valuable, and this valuable thing is very much precious in business thing. And this time brings us money, and all the business this runs on this money.
Without wasting a time, let's move to our case. If in situation analysis, we can see that our company is RCH. It is Los Angeles based company which is 35 years old, and it has 5 individual units which ensures the best quality. And but in previous 2 years, the organization began to lose their causes, lost their money, and went wrong. Something went wrong with them. If we look at our company situation in the life cycle of our sales, we are in the position of declining, on the verge of declining session. After the maturity term, we are declining, and our company is decreasing in advertising or sectors. In this case, our main competitor is Marquis, which has boosted its business 20%, making a trade of RCS, and it supplies the product in 60 days, where we take 50 weeks or more, and it shows that they have quicker showcasement in shipment time. If we move to our short analysis, our company strength is we have high quality of product and we have massive demand. If we look at weakness, our units are decentralized and it takes long delivery time. If we look at opportunities, it shows that ever-growing consumer wants and good quality products, and trade causes rival companies are booming high, and their supply chain is very fast, and they are shifting products very soon to the consumers. After all these effects, we can see some symptoms of our present problem. We have sales declining, we have losing high amount of profit, and we are not able to deliver the desired amount of goods in desired time. After analyzing all the problems, it is sure that we have improper supply chain management system. If we have a supply chain management which provides good quality of product, they always wants to provide us good quality products, but for this reason they take much longer time than others. That's why we think that our core issue is improper supply chain management, and we should reorganize this supply chain management.
Well, we have already known about the problem. Now let's look at the objectives of RCH company. The objectives of RCH would be increasing the sale amount and capturing the lion's share, and as well as ensuring the best quality product. Now, how can we achieve these objectives? We have already find some alternatives, and let's look on this. First of all, we have centralizing the units and carrying out the business together. Well, our in the current situation, we see our management system is pretty much decentralized. We have 5 different units, and all of them work individually. So if we centralize the units and carry out the business, it would be a good alternative. Well, where the pros will be, we will have the full control from one unit, and the delivery time will be quicker. And the cons will be workload will be higher, and quality assurance is not is unsure. And removing the employees, we have to remove employees, and that would be that wouldn't be an easy task to do. Second, we can create an inventory system. Well, where the pros will be, our assurance to the quality will be better, and better shipment time will have there will be less conflict. And if you look at the cons, we see production cost will be higher at a time, and the chances of not selling full lot will be there, and inventory cost will increase. Third, we could just simply follow the strategy of Marquis, where the shipment time is better and there is no conflict among the employees or units. If we look at the cons, it's not an easy task to remove the current form of work form, and the chances of similar products would be much higher. Well, finally, we have quality checking to ensure fastest shipment, decreasing providers, and ensuring inventory facilities. Well, we can, if we look at the pros, there is, you can see that the shipment time will be better and long-term profit is ensured, and the consumer satisfaction is also there. If we see the cons, it's a lengthy procedure. And a good amount of money is also needed. Now, our big idea would be quality checking to ensure fastest shipment, decreasing providers, and ensuring inventory facilities. Well, how are we going to do it? Let's see the timeline. Well, in the first 2 years, we will be boosting our marketing strategy with provider decreasing. How we will decrease 1 or 2 providers among the 10. Which will save some money to boost up our marketing strategy. And in year 2 and 3, we will be rearranging our provider base, and in the and onwards, we will be ensuring the quality by making an inventory where we will store our goods.
Now comes the action plan. Now, how are we going to do this thing? The problem is we have the problems in our supply chain management system, and for this we have to do this in the first the internal way, then the outer way. Now what we have to do in the internal way is we have to boost up the marketing strategy, and that is by campaigning, brochure making, and e-marketing, and of course the TVC. Now if we do this, the internal person of the United States, they will know that we have one good company and they will buy our product, and in this way we can actually do the good things. Now the second long-term action plan is making the business stand high, right, once again by replacing the providers overall the supply chain management system. The thing is that we have 5 major persons in our company. They have their individual sectors, and when they do the business category, business dealings, they have their own personal choices. So when they deal with those people, they ensure the best of the qualities. But while they try to make this based on the quality, they ensure so much quality that they take very long time. For this reason, the production rate decreases and the total earning of the company that declines. And as a result, we can also, at the end of the day, we have to create an inventory. For this, we have to we earn the money from the overall business and create an inventory. The inventory would help us in this way that if we have the very much high demand of our one product, and when we stock those things in this in those inventory system, then actually we can provide those things for the later use. But when we don't have the inventory, like in the present context, we don't have any inventory. Like once we face this thing that one of our products they were very much liked by the people and they were actually finished. For this reason, we could not do any more business because we did not have any more stock. For this, we need to make an inventory. Now we might have some challenges, and we know how to deal with these things. The marketing strategy with the current employees. As I have already stated, the 5 members, the 5 big heads of our company, they have good relation with the existing supply chain management system personnel. So when they don't have this, we break this chain and we create our own chain by the internal supply chain people, and overall we break this supply chain, then there might create a conflict. Then we have to do the reward facility system and increment of their salaries. In this way, they would get the amount of pricing, the amount of money they want. Then again, in the long-term process, we might have overall profit declining. But in this way, we can say that the initial problem, this can be solved when the business will boom. Like for example, if we use this thing, then we will have at the later of our time period, then we will have the good amount of profit. And in this way, we can actually have our problem solved. Then the feasibility of this case. Is it feasible? Yes, it is feasible because the end product is quality. We ensure the quality of the end product. The main product we are selling are the textile goods. So when we use this thing, these are the first class quality, and the consumers will get this thing. The good management process, as we are not just leaving them out or kicking our staffs out of the company, though this highly experienced workers are working for our company, so the supply chain management will work. And the good business strategy, that is we are making this thing, we are not just declining the supply chain management, rather we are replacing this by other members. Like we are not keeping the supply chain people who are making the good quality but taking more time. Rather we are making more supply chain people engaged in this so that we will take less time but the quality is ensured. And that was our whole of the presentation. That we have half filled the glass. Now it is for the judges to fill the rest half of the glass by asking the question. Thank you. Sir, I apologize because we were supposed to perform 4, but one of our members is absent because he is sick and he went out of Dhaka.
You guys mentioned the pros of centralizing, that it would be quicker delivery times, right? If I'm correct, of centralizing. So don't you think centralizing is a process that actually increases the time of the processing rather? Because decentralizing is the thing that we do to reduce the timing. So it's a little conflicting. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Thank you, ma'am. The concept we have while centralizing is that as we have 5 units, they work on their own. So they have their own system. They provide their own. They like their own. The supply chain people. So when we centralize the thing, it's more like a dictatorship. So when the head of the company, he himself chooses the person we are dealing with, in that case we will have fast transaction.
Right, so very good presentation, T-Jokers. It was nice to see you guys presenting. So one of the very questions that I have is, one of your solutions told us that you want to reduce your business providers, as in the providers that you have, you're going to reduce the number of them, right? So, and you're going to replace them with new providers. Am I correct?
Yes.
Right. So, and the timeline that you have is 2 years, right? The first 2 years, you want to decrease the number of providers, as in the first part. So my question is that within these 2 years, since the management has already told you to take immediate action, right? So what are you going to do these 2 years in order to meet the consumer demands or the customer demands that are currently present in the market?
Thank you, sir. Our concept was that we already have 10 suppliers, the 10 main suppliers. So we are just going to reduce 2 or 1 or 3 of them. The rest will be in the action. So those will have to work for this for our company.
And how are you going to choose the 2 or 3?
So like the minor ones that are taking more time compared to the other ones, we are gonna eradicate them.
Okay, thank you.
Hello. This is working here. Okay, so in your action plan, you talked about boosting the marketing strategy. You talked about internal marketing. Yeah, how are you going to do that exactly?
Sir, exactly, we are gonna improvise on this thing by the campaigning and the brochure making. More, if we say about the internal market, like in United States, we are gonna do this thing. We are gonna make people aware of our products. Like this is an international brand, and we are selling it out of the country. And it is a good quality product. So if we are gonna make our business run good, we are selling it outside of our country. If we do this inside our country, we can do this thing. And for this, we are gonna do the TVC and the e-marketing and other stuff.
Okay, so by internal market, you're talking about the country itself. You're talking about consumers in the country, or are you talking about the employees or internal marketing within the company itself?
Oh, sir, I wanted to mean the consumers of our own country.
It would have been better if you were more specific as to what you were doing when you just wrote campaigning and brochure.
Sorry, sir.
Okay. Overall, nice presentation.
Hello guys. Very good situation analysis. There was an active question. We just talked about creating inventory, right? Because of their lead time on inventory, as they're losing on customers or competitor. But here you guys talk so much about inventory. My question here is, maintaining inventory consumes a lot of cash, right? And these are high fashion goods. So if you stock up inventory and the fashion changes, the stock might become obsolete, right? So would it be better to focus on reducing the lead time rather than creating inventory whereas lead time is already high? So any opinions on that?
So we are creating the inventory on that context that if we have the present scenario, like as we have faced earlier, that once we had the boom in our product launching and people was trying to get our product. So when we could not just deliver them with those goods because we didn't have the product in them. So we thought of the inventory for that reason. Sir, according to your question, if we do have the slight risk, not the slight, we have a big risk of falling apart because the inventory cost is so high. We had this motivation because of this, that situation if we ever fall in short of our goods.
Okay, thank you.
The Jokers. Now I would like to call on the stage the team Game Changers to take the stage and to give us their presentation. Assalamualaikum everyone. We are the Game Changers. Now, let me start with a story. Last winter, my sister wanted to attend her friend's wedding. So, she was looking for a beautiful wedding attire. So, she found her and she was extremely in love with it. But when she was about to collect it, the product wasn't delivered on time. So, she had to buy another attire from another shop. So, what can be the problem or the situation? The problem was in supply chain management problem of the shop or the organization. So we are here to discuss about the problem of RCH, which is supply chain management problem. Now, let us have a look on the situation analysis. What we can have here: delay of product delivery, air freight cost extra money, competitor cost less along with quick delivery. Now, delay of product delivery. RCH emphasizes on delivering the best product. So, it consumes a lot of time. Air freight costs extra money. As they have, actually they consume a lot of time on delivery. So, they thought to deliver the products by air. And it costs extra money. Now, competitor costs less along with quick delivery. One of the competitor mentioned about Marcus, they deliver their products with a low cost and they get their production from China within 60 days, whereas the RCH take a time about 50 weeks. So here we can see competitor can deliver the products in a later time. Now, problems. What is the core problem? We can say the core problem is quality products cost more time. As I mentioned before, they emphasize on the best quality. If I want to collect a best thing from my who supplies me, so they have to ensure me the quality, and they took the raw material best. But in collecting the best quality, they have to take a lot of time. Then underlying problem, consumer demand reduces. Why? When the consumer don't get the products on time, they lose their interest on the company. As I can get the product, why will I even bother to get it from them? So it reduces the demand. Then air freight cost increase production cost. As the RCH can't deliver the product on time, so they think to deliver it by air, and it is hugely cost. Then competitor gaining more control over the market. If consumer demand reduces, a big opportunity for other companies to take over the control on the market. Now,
evaluating the alternatives. The first alternative we have is moving inventory network to China, and the other alternative is continuing in Australia. Let's consider why not continue in Australia. In Australia we have seen that there was a big mistake in the administration problem and a few years back, and there was also a recent setback as the work strike there. So there had been some problems in Australia. That is why the production or the supply from there is late. Now, why should we move in our inventory network to China? Moving inventory network to China temporarily. Now, let us consider why we are moving our inventory network to China temporarily. Because we are a mature company after about 35 years, and we have 4 brands running in the market. So we can take the risk of assigning Karan Chandri as our world acquisition, assembling and coordination VP for 1 year. Why for 1 year? Because he tends to resign, or he can resign within 1 year, as he is a great successor and he does not want to be in the same company for a longer period of time. So we have our Karan Chandri as the VP as acquisition, assembling and coordination for 1 year. Because he is a great successor, he can be of great use to the company. That is why we have chosen him. Why we have chosen him? The loss is increasing very fast because already 2 years, 2 years back, the company had started losing more and more cash. So we had to take quick action, and the quick action was to have a dark horse in the team as the Karan Chandri in our team.
Now we'll say about the situation analysis for shifting to China. For shifting to China, if you see the SWOT analysis, then first of all see the trend. Then there will be the trend is lower cost or work cost, because we have already seen that the competitive rival, the Marcus company, have already done a good there because of this trend of lower work cost. Now moving to the weakness. The weakness is if we move to China, then the weakness will be the new production and supply strategies will be needed. If we shift there, then we will need a new strategy to start up there. Then the big threat is the rivals are already there. For example, the Marcus, they have already set up business there. So moving to there, the threat will be them. Then talking about opportunities, product delivery will be very fast, because as we have seen that Marcus have done well in business there, so we can hope for a good product delivery there. Then let us talk about the challenges we will face there. The first challenge may be that totally new strategy in China. It's a very big challenge for us, because moving to there, the strategy will be new. So we'll have to think of it. That depending on Wang may occur problems. Wang have said that he can do this very well, but only depending on him will be correct. Then HR may have problems shifting. Obviously our HR department will have to shift there, then they will be settled there, and there will be the new environment there. So it will be a challenge for shifting the HR department there. Then the ethical relation with supplier may be hampered. So if we move to China, then we will have a new supplier, and the old supplier relation with the old supplier will be hampered for moving to China. Then the contingency. If the plan fails, then we have a backup plan for that. We will move to our previous location, and we will hand over all the plans to
and Jason, who have a very good idea for narrowing down the numbers of suppliers. Suppose here, then he will move to the previous location and hand over all the responsibility to Jason, because Jason have a plan to narrow down the number of suppliers. What will be the benefit if the number of suppliers is less, because the efficiency will be more. For example, if we give a contract of 100 products to 50 companies to produce 2 products each company, and in another case, if we give a contract of producing 100 products to 10 companies, then that case each company will produce 10 products. So what will be the benefit? Because the priority will be high. If we give a company to produce 10 products instead of 2, then they will give priority to us, and they will fasten up the production and will deliver it on time. So that's a very much that's a great impact for us. Then moving to the timeline.
The timeline you can see, we are entering the new market in China, first year. So the first year for us will be a risk year, as we have never entered the market in China. We are new here very, so we will have to do a lot of promotions to get good supply from there. And then in the second and the third year, the break-even point and the revenue point comes. And in the third year, we will have our target fulfilled. If the plan fails also, we also have a plan for that, the contingency plan. That also includes the three-year plan we have here. If the first year fails, then we will have to continue our production in China, continue our getting our supply from China, Australia. And the break-even point will also come in the second year then, because we will have more efficiency, as Jason will be our VP for acquisition and coordination there. Then the revenue point comes in the third year, and the target is also fulfilled in third year.
Alright, thank you, Game Changers. Very good presentation. Specifically loved the situation analysis. And don't worry about the electricity timeout. I think it was accounted for. No problem. So one good idea that I liked about you was the resource utilization. The person, as in assigning Karan to the job, because obviously he has been of good experience before. So that is something that I really like. What I have as a question again is that if you are going to reduce the number of suppliers again to 10, like the example that you provided, provided that the deal is the same, that the costs are the same with those suppliers, how are you going to manage that situation? Since they're providing you in large quantities, like the current problem that they have is the suppliers, the cost of supplying is really high. So how are you going to deal with that scenario? What is the contingency back then?
Contingency will be that they will have to give us more priority as we are giving more or greater number of orders to them. So as we are their greater priority, they'll have to concentrate on us better, and they'll have to be efficient to give us the order in time.
Like Aslan said, it was a good presentation. One query that I have is that you mentioned about the challenges of shifting to China, but I was really not clear about how you would overcome the challenges. For example, the HR problem or the relationship with the current supplier. Could you elaborate? Like, how do you plan to overcome these challenges?
To cope up with the HR problem, we'll give them benefit to settle up there. We'll give them accommodation. We'll give them service. And it will come from our company's expenditure. We have to expend, otherwise we cannot cope up the problem. And to cope up the relation with all suppliers, we will not cancel our supply at a time. We will cancel the supply slowly by slowly, so it will not affect so much.
I have one question. That is, you said that the core problem is quality products cost more time. right? So my first question is, why would you term it as quality products cost more time? Like, the problem itself can be that it costs a lot, or it costs more, or it takes more time.
As mentioned in the problem, Maggie had the resources or the products coming from the best suppliers, and she had subcontractors who also had subcontractors. So to get the best product and sort it out, they needed more time, and to ship it from Australia by air, the time was.
That part I got. I mean, when you term a problem, when you term a core problem, when you talk about a core problem, you shouldn't term like quality products cost more time. You should talk about the thing that it takes more time. Don't bring in quality products here. Having quality products is a good thing. Because it sort of showed that in the beginning, I was thinking, are you going to tackle quality products by reducing the quality so that it takes less time? Or it costs less?
We are thinking, we are not going to compromise on the quality, but for 1 year, we are risking that our reputation to continue production, not continue production in Australia for 1 year, or we'll be moving to China, and we'll be decreasing our production in Australia. If the plan comes along, then we'll continue in China, otherwise we'll be back to Australia.
I'm going to talk about one of your recommendations. We said assigning Karan to VP of Forward Acquisition for 1 year, right? This is assuming he will leave the company after about a year. Like, is that what you're assuming now?
If he leaves the company, that will not be a problem for us, because we have Jason in hand, who is working for a couple of years in our company. We'll then assign him to that position, because the company will already be set up in China.
Yes, we have also the ability to go there, so we can take this as alternative.
So my question here is mainly, they need an immediate action, right? Because they're losing customers to the competitor. So if I assign Karan as a new head, and I keep it for only 1 year, right? He's going to take some time to get used to the suppliers there and my current vendors. So he will take some time to bring in the changes. So my question is, why? Are you assuming that he will be kept for 1 year, or do you want to keep Jason from the beginning? What's your opinion?
Karan is a better successor than Jason, as implied in the problem. Pat's tutor on board told Pat that Karan is a great successor, and he has been successful at what he does. So it is better for us to take him as the VP of Acquisition and Coordination first, and then if he leaves or not leaves, that will be second part. Then we'll sign Jason on.
We are assigning Karan for his quality, because he is suggested by the tutor of Pat. So tutor of Pat is obviously an experienced person, so he must suggest a person who has better quality. So we are willing on that.
Okay, thank you.
Deserve appreciation, as they have tackled up the uncertain technological inconvenience. So we are very much sorry for the technical inconvenience. We had nothing to do with that. Okay. So now I welcome the team One Person Club to stage their presentation. Give them a big hand.
Respected judges and August gathering. Assalamu alaikum, good evening everyone. We are club. Wait, nothing. Your shirt looks very awesome to me. It's Jacqui. Oh my god, I wanted the same shirt from our switch, but I couldn't get the delivery. So so I bought it from Mercury.
Oh man, so sad. Now moving on to RCH. RCH is a Los Angeles-based company which has started its business in 1970. Which has started its business in 1970. After constantly it started its business in 1970. For the last 35 years, it has grown its business constantly. It has its outlet in USA, Canada, UK and Mexico. For the last 2 years, it started to lag behind. The providers couldn't supply the materials properly. So in the meantime, a rival company, Jacqui, was taking over the market. They shifted all their product offerings in the restored city of China. They possess a high-end and special product. They reach the customer very rapidly. Now I wonder why RCH was lagging behind.
Okay, let me tell you how it becomes so. Reviewing the issue, we got to know about the Los Angeles-based company RCH and the rival company Mercury. And finding out the main problem is the doorway to the solution. So let's find out what is the main problem is. To me, it seems that the main problem is with the providers that they are making delay supplying the materials in the market, so that the production is hampered a lot. So now let's come to the point how it becomes so. The providers are being late carrying the materials or delivering the materials in the market, so the they are being late. That is why the production is hampered, and that is turned up to be the form of interest to the customers, and then customers' interest is losing out, and then again another incident took place that in a firm the workers and the administrative side had lost their intimacy in between. That is why the problem again continued so, and then without that some administrative issues are also slowing down the overall progress. This summed up to be the main problem, followed by some other subsequent problems too, such as insufficient production, slow supply chain, and lack of coordination in between the RCH unit that led to the slowing down the main production, and finally defaming the brand's name as a whole. So what could be the feasible solution?
Okay, now I have a solution for that. From here we can see that the main problem is with the providers who is supplying materials. So how can we solve it? We can solve it by a manner where we will take 80% of our production to the Shanghai, where it is already provided that the companies are taking from here, and rest of 20% we will keep it with the previous providers. Why should we do that? As they are working for us for the last 35 years or more, they are enough trustworthy for the 20%. So why should we let this go out so easy? We won't let this out go so easy. Here we will show a 4-year timeline plan, where for the first 2 years we will give an ultimatum to the company where it will regain its control over the administration. So why we need 4 years, where we can do it in 2 years? The rest 2 years will be for the solutions. If the company fails to regain control over the administration, we will take the rest 2 years to find another suitable alternative where the company can make its profit out. So now I wonder, what if both this plan?
Well, let me add to that. As my mate here said, that there could be a problem. What if the both plans fail? Well, I have an alternate solution for that. My solution is shifting the whole production in the network city Shanghai with the coordination with Mr. Wang. Well, as I prior said, if the both plan fails, then what will we do? We will shift our whole production to China because China has the cheap labor what we are searching for to increase our profit and regain our position in the market. As we have seen that our company RCH has performed very good in recent years, but it has fallen down in 2 years as because of the providers are unable to supply us with the materials what we need. So if we transfer our production to China, then we will be able to reorganize our supply chain and production line, and we will be able to reach our customers in time. And meanwhile, there is a fact that how long we will have our market production in China. Well, I have a solution to that. It's a 10 years work plan. And what is a 10 years work plan? We know our market changes by the flow of time. So with the flow of time, with the flow of time, we can assume that the marketplace will again change, and there will be new environments, new workplaces, and new opportunities. By coping with that, we can assume and hope that there will be new possibilities and new functions of workplace what we were searching for. So if any workplace are good, better from China, then we will shift our workplace to that place. And if it doesn't happen, then we will keep our production to China. So this is the fact what are we searching for, and this sums up the total dilemma what we have here today. So I would like to ask you that if you have any inquiries about our whole presentation. Thank you.
So hi guys. Firstly, I like your name, one person, Bob. And secondly, don't say shit in a presentation. And my question to you is that you're gonna fix the problem with the existing providers by giving them an ultimatum.
Please, I did not understand the question, please.
Okay, so in your presentation, you said that for year 1 and year 2, you're going to give an ultimatum.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
To whom?
To the previous providers that were supplying us with materials last 35 years, that are facing some problems by administration and workers.
So for 2 years, you're going to give them time.
Yes.
Do you think such a negative reinforcement will work?
Yes, of course. But when a company will face such dilemma that they are losing their customers, that as we are the customers to the providers, if we go away from them, they will endure a loss. And no company, in my sense, no company will like to do that. I think this will be ultimatum will be the exact cure for this problem.
Okay, so if they fail, you'll take all your business away.
Yes, because I have to run my business too.
Okay, so
I have to make my profit too. So I will
take 100% of it away, not give them the 20%.
No, because I have spared them time, as I have losses for them, and I am enduring the loss till now, and I am having 20% of my total production to them, because they should not have a full loss in those 2 years. 20% of my production. But if they fail to support me, I will definitely remove that 20% production, and I will search new providers.
So in the year 1 and year 2, they will only get 20% of your business. Am I correct?
Yeah, they will have my 20% of production.
So you have already shifted by year 1 to China?
Yes, we have shifted. We will shift our 80% of our production to China.
in that time.
That is negative reinforcement starts right there because that's hampering the relationship right from that time. So don't you think that it's going to get worse?
And this is absolutely the act of socializing thing. We will talk with them, and we will also take them that we cannot endure much loss from them. That if we have our 100% production in those providers in 4 years, then we will have huge loss, and I have to shut my company up. So for that, we cannot keep our full production in those with those providers this 4 years.
I understand your point, but the thing is, you're saying that from year one, you're gonna take 80% of your business away from them, right?
Yes.
Okay. So then you're giving them an ultimatum.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. So why should they be incentivized to even work for your 20%?
Because, as I said, if they be successful in regaining their administration and solve their problems, I will not find any new providers. And as our production in China, this is 4 years plan. After 4 years, if the matters is solved, then we will take our production from China to those providers.
Or you go back to...
Yes, it is a 4 years plan, so not the whole time.
Relationship with the Chinese provider be ruined as well.
As I don't need to go to the Chinese once more as it is resolved. And the matter will be resolved with the providers. I don't need to go to the Chinese persons.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Okay. So you're gonna take your production away from the current providers, go to China, take 80% of your business.
Yes.
Tell them, I'm not gonna do business with you unless I'm gonna take away the 20% as well. If you don't work efficiently. But then, let's say they start working efficiently by some miracle, and then you start taking business away from China and giving it back to them.
As this is a 4 years plan, and I have been dealing with those providers since 35 years.
No, that's not the point. I mean, you're trying to build a new relationship with the Chinese providers as well, right?
Of course.
So you give them 80% of your business, and then you come back again when your old providers are now becoming more efficient.
As in the case of business, money matters. So of course I will do
relationship matters a lot as well.
Relationship matters, but I don't need to go to the Chinese people once this problem is resolved. So I don't think that would be concern of my company.
This is going to be like, if the Australian company problem gets fixed, it's going to be a permanent fix. You're assuming under the naive assumption that the problem will not reoccur. So you've tore relation with the Chinese, and then you already have a hampering relation with the Australians. That's what his point is, that you're actually hampering relationships on both sides.
No, as a matter of fact, the relations with the company, the previous companies, will not be hampered because they know that they are failing to support us. But we still are caring for them and having our 80% of production with them. So they know that we are doing a favor to them. So the relationship will be not hampered. Because they know that the problem is in their company, not in us. So the relationship our providers will not hamper. Will be not hampered.
Just one advice. See, when you're providing solutions to a case like this, try to give more than one, okay? So then you can choose between the 2 or 3 solutions you give. So here you gave us only one solution, which is 80% business, China and our, and 20% Canada.
But I have options.
Which I can't see clearly.
Right. So I have options. Yes, the process is one, but I have 2 options. If the providers fail to support us with the 20%, then we will of course search for new providers. If we can't find new providers, we will all shift our full production to China. That is our alternative, and we have said it already. So we have
exactly. The alternative comes after you've given us all of your options, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just another question for the alternative plan you have, that is shifting the full production to China.
Yes.
Here you gave timeline of 10 years.
Yes.
So in the case it says I need immediate action to go against my competitors, right?
Yes.
So when you gave a timeline of 10 years,
Yes.
what did you base it on that? Because it might be that in my first year, I might not be successful. So no matter in the rest of the 9 years, nothing might happen. So what did you base the 10 years on?
Okay, as a fact that, let me tell you the fact here. I am counting on 10 years in China because China has a poor labor, has low labor cost. China has a quality issue that they give us full quality. So for these reasons, I am relying on China in my alternative plan. And the 10 years I have spoken about is the timeline when we will, no matter what happens, we will rely on China. And there is a fact that after 10 years, if I told it in my saying that their marketplace always changes with time flow. So it might happen that there might be a good workplace than China in after 10 years or 10 years. As I cannot, after the 10 years, I can search for new destination. If we find a better workplace than China, we'll then shift our production from China to that country or environment.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And this sums up the whole problem we are dealing with. Thanks everyone. And we think this way the dilemma cost for RCH company will be removed, and this company will regain its position, what is really capable of.
Guys,
thanks everyone.
One last feedback. Okay, before you go, one last feedback. So when you're in the Q&A session, all of you try to answer questions as well. Okay, and all of you stand in the same line, not like behind him.
Okay, we will keep in mind.
It's a team. Okay. Thank you.
First, I'd like to share some incident with you. That is, I, along with my 6 friends, my local friends, have our regular evening chit chat at a particular shop, and we drink a particular drink at that shop. And that drink is, I don't mention the name of the drink. That drink is a part of our regular chit chat. And last week, we couldn't find the drink at the shop. So we searched for that in another shop of that area. We couldn't find it. We're very upset. What should we do? We don't have any choice. Okay. Then at last we found it at another shop of another area. And after seeing the behavior of that shopkeeper, we were very delighted. And after that day, we regularly having our chit chat at that shop. What happened? Our first shopkeeper lost his first 6 customers, regular customers. Can you think why he lost us? Maybe, I think that is his supply chain issue, I think. Okay, now at our formal presentation, we are given a case and we have a situation to analyze before you. Thank you.
The situation is about a brand, RCH. So, from its establishment, this brand has been doing very well. It has developed 5 garment lines, and for the past 5 years, this brand is selling itself in the worldwide market. Well, doesn't it seem like a success story? But we found that this brand is losing cash for the past couple of years. And also, this brand is lagging behind its rivals like Marcus. Sometimes its stocks are rising beyond estimation, and sometimes they are lowered suddenly. And after that, we have seen that this brand is doing retail establishment all over the world, and it's been getting its supplies from solution. We have done SWOT analysis to get into the core of the situation. And then we got the core problem: inefficient supply chain. So, is accusing supply chain justified? Well, yes, because there are some underlying situations. This brand is doing too much sourcing. And why is it doing so? Because it's been looking for the best breed of every alternative. And after that, the final products are distributed into areas which are far from each other, enlarging the supply chain even more. And they are not even being able to supply all the products in all the retail shops at proper proportion. Because of that, some retail shops are being out of stock. And because of these dispersed sourcing, we are needing a very long lead time. Can we link all these underlying issues back to some problem? And that problem is inefficient supply chain. So we have provided you some alternatives to solve this problem.
Here we can see that there are some problems, justification. Based on that, we have done some alternatives. The alternatives are reducing price, centralization of supply chain, third one is reducing sourcing. We have analyzed some pros and cons for this alternative. Here are the pros and cons. Now, what is our recommendation? Our recommendation will be making supply chain more efficient. How are we going to do that?
To make the supply chain more efficient, we need to centralize the supply chain. To make the supply chain more efficient, we want to follow 3 schemes. Our first scheme is reducing the sourcing center. At present, our state is getting its sourcing facilities from 10 individual organizations, which causes longer lead time, stock fluctuation, and most importantly, more and more transportation cost. So, if we recommend to reduce the sourcing centers, it will save its transportation costs. For example, we're gonna collect cow skins from China that formerly which Australia used to support its trade with its cow skins. And our second scheme is reducing the distribution centers. Presently, our RCH has its distribution centers in 4 countries. They are USA, Canada, Great Britain, and Mexico. RCH itself is a USA-based company, and Canada is next to USA, and Great Britain itself is a great market. So, we're gonna eliminate Mexico from the distribution center list. And what the first 2 schemes will result in? Reducing the sourcing center and reducing distribution center will result in the reduced transportation cost. And we have our final and third scheme, that is to change the administration. To make a change in administration, our Pat as the CEO of RCH, Richard as CFO of RCH, and additionally we will recruit Karan Chandrik as the VP of World Acquisition, because he is a straightforward person, aggressive, and always looking forward to take drastic change for improvement. And under the VP, we will recruit Jason Reedy as additional VP, because he is a sensible person and moderate mentality, and he has a good link-up with all other suppliers and distributors. And under the VP, all other departments will work under one shape. And additionally, we will recruit Maggie as the advisor of RCH, because Maggie is working for 20 years in RCH. She has a vast link-up with the suppliers and the distributors, and we will utilize her experience. And we have our timeline for the recommended 3 schemes.
So we have 3 schemes and we have 5 years to operate that schemes. Here you can see in the first year, we will going to rearrange our administration, and within the first 2 years, we gonna reduce our distribution center. And as because reducing sourcing center is a very lengthy process, we are planning to have 5 years for that purpose. Okay? Now, we are going to face some challenges in this operation. That problems are quality reduction. Why we lose our quality? Just because our old suppliers provided us very good quality goods. Now we are reducing them, we are changing the suppliers, as because there is a possibility that quality might get some deducted. Okay, then the sales reduction, as because we are reducing Mexico from our distribution country, that is why sales might get some reduction. And as we are rearranging our administration hierarchy, that is why there is a possibility to face some internal clash. Now here is some mitigation for that problem. It is true that we changed our supplier. Previously we were looking for best quality supplier. Now we will look for optimum quality supplier at optimum cost. Right? Then emphasis on profit. We have reduced our source, we have reduced our distribution center, and our transportation cost is also low. That will result at more profit. That is our emphasis. And following our previously mentioned hierarchy, we will supposed to avoid that internal clash. Okay? Now, next please. Here is our some assumption of 6 years, and between the 3rd or 4th year, the company will have expected to have established supply chain structure, and we will have upward direction profit line. It is hopefully we are expecting to have more profit, I like to say. Then next slide please. And when our total plan doesn't work too good, and in case we can't get our good result from this operation, we can have some contingency plan, that is rearranging hierarchy. We can rearrange our hierarchy, administration hierarchy, evaluating the performance of our company personnel, and we have mentioned that we are changing our sourcing and distribution center. That is why our supply chain will get broken. We will get our broken supply chain rebuilt with the influence of our very experienced and compatible personnel like who are in our administration. Then we might get our established supply chain, I think. Then actually what initiative we are going to propose to that company. Our clear initiative is one sentence. We are suggesting to use minimized resource, get maximum output, utilizing it most. That is why our motto, that is our suggesting to the company, that is less is more. Thank you sir, thank you everyone.
And I had a few questions. First of all, you talked about, it was a nice build-up till the problems and justification. And then you just talked about alternatives and you skipped it altogether. And then you just went straight to the recommendation, which was not exactly the recommendation itself as well. But you see, there's a gap. Like it should be like, when I'm listening to your presentation, it should seem like this is what it should lead up to. You're talking about the alternatives, I'm understanding, okay, this is bad, this is good. So it should lead up to it. Okay, this is the perfect recommendation. It's like problems, this is a recommendation, there was alternatives in the middle. There were pros and cons. Okay. And another, oh, that was the feedback from my part.
Can I say something like that? Actually, we had a lot to say. We had a lot to say, but that was a limited time, you know.
No. Time will always be limited in a competition, right? But when you're having a separate section for it, even you have a bar on the bottom of the slides, right? So there is alternatives evaluation. So if you skip the entire section, it doesn't, it's not good for the presentation itself.
What I think you guys feel is that so that if you have too much information and you're saying there's less time, then don't include that in the slides, because there's no point of including it and you're just skipping through, because that just is, if there wasn't there, you wouldn't probably have raised that question in the first place. And the fact that there are things in your slides and you're skipping those parts, it just reflects back. Nothing that big, but it just reflects back. That's it.
Yeah, one question. It's in the monitoring evaluation where you give the profit expectations, right? The expected level of profit. What did you base that on? Was it since you're developing Mexico, right? So you said this will decrease sales, but this also reduce costs as well, right? And also, to what degree are you engaging with the Chinese providers? So what did you exactly base the profit levels on? Is my question.
Actually, sir, you are totally right that we are eliminating one of our distribution, and that will result some saving money. And just because this is a transition period for the company, and we are rearranging our total supply chain here. That is because our total profit is growing good, but not that good. After, we are hoping that it is, actually there is no figures there, we are just giving you an idea, and after we are having our total established supply chain, then it is okay.
So the reason I asked this question, because there were no figures given, right, in the case. So means, what did you exactly base this on, right? So when you give something like this, make sure you have a basis for it, because if you can defend it with no figures, that means you just made the information up. You cannot do that, okay? So just a math class. Thank you.
Okay, one question from my side, good presentation. So in your alternative solution, one of the solutions was to reduce brands, right? So firstly, I would like to know the reasoning behind it, and how do you think this, at the end of the day, increases your profit? Because right now we are worried about meeting demands. So why would you want to cut down on your present brands, which are already more popular in the market?
May I have some time, sir?
Sure.
Here the company is having the loss of cash. The company's condition is getting worse and worse. And this company has 5 brands. And for the 5 brands, it has 10 sourcing center. This is too tough for this company. They are not able to manage all of this, collecting products, having transportation costs. That is why we thought it is wise to omit some sourcing. We can have 5, 6. We can reduce that is not so many advantages to us. That is why I think it will be good. It will be one good choice for the company.
So may I add something? Sure. It is 5 brands. In the text we found that it's Harry and Sally. It was a lost project, and also the youngsters. That was also a sort of lost project. So if having all these together, it's a bit tough as it is decentralized the supply chain is. So if we reduce some of the brands, for 5, it will, if we work with 3 or 4, then it will be a bit easier to handle the overall situation. That's it.
Okay, good. Thank you.